Right, so The Prince, some 500-year-old book by an Italian geezer. You'd think, boring, leave it. But this thing is basically the instruction manual
Yeah.
for every dodgy politician and ruthless boss you've ever met.
I mean, it's a straight-up guide to the dark arts, bro. Written by Niccolò Machiavelli. And the story behind it is half the fun.
Right.
This guy wasn't some philosopher sitting in, an ivory tower. He was a proper political operator in Florence. Then his team gets booted, the Medici family takes over, and he gets exiled. Tortured on the rack, the lot.
Proper cancelled. So, stuck on his farm, he writes this book and dedicates it to the new boss, Lorenzo de' Medici. It's not a plea, it's a power play. It's the most deranged job application in history. Wow. Basically saying, you lot are amateurs. This is how you hold on to power. Now, can I have my job back?
The absolute front of the man. So let's get into his tips for tyrants. The big one everyone knows. Is it better to be feared or loved?
He's dead clear on it. It is much safer to be feared than loved. His logic is cold, but you can't lie, it makes a kind of sense.
Right.
He says love is held together by a chain of obligation, which, because men are rotten, is broken at every opportunity for their own advantage. But fear?
Yeah?
Fear is held in place by a dread of punishment, which never fails. It's grim, but he's not wrong, is he? Think about it. Your favorite matey boss who wants to be loved? Yeah, the minute things get tough, people will walk all over them. But the one you're slightly terrified of? You hit your deadlines. You don't slack off. They have your respect, not because you like them, but because you're scared of the consequences. But he's clever about it. It's not just about being a monster. He says, a prince must make himself feared in such a way that, if he does not win love, he avoids hatred. Okay. Don't be a bully for the sake of it. Don't take a man's land or his wife. Be ruthless with purpose. That's the key in it, purpose. Which leads to his other big idea. The ends justify the means. Right. Basically, if the goal is to keep the country safe and stable, then anything you do to achieve that is on the table. Lying, betrayal, cruelty, it's all just tools in the box. He bangs on about this guy, Cesare Borgia. Total psycho, but, effective.
Oh yeah?
Borgia takes over a chaotic region and puts his hard-man governor Ramiro in charge to sort it out. Ramiro goes in, all swords and fire, and pacifies the place through sheer brutality. He does all the dirty work, so job done, but now the people hate this Ramiro bloke. What does Borgia do? He waits till the job is finished. Then, to show the people that the cruelty wasn't his idea, he has Ramiro arrested, cut in half, and his body displayed in the town square for everyone to see. No way! Machiavelli describes the scene as leaving the people both satisfied and stupefied. That is stone cold. So he gets the result he wanted, a peaceful state, and he makes himself look like the good guy by punishing the man who did his dirty work. In awe, he turns cruelty into a PR win. That is some dark, twisted genius right there. And you see that playbook everywhere today. A government needs to make cuts, they send out the most hated minister to announce it, let them take all the flack for a year, and then the prime minister sacks them and looks like a hero.
Yeah.
It's pure Machiavelli. It's this whole thing of appearance versus reality. He's obsessed with it. He literally says a leader needs to appear to be merciful, faithful, and religious.
Right. Appear, while being fully prepared to be the complete opposite when necessary. The image is more important than the reality.
Nodding. Look at the corporate world. The CEO who talks about family and wellness in company-wide emails. Then a week later, lays off 500 people over Zoom. It's the same game. Manage perceptions. You mentioned ruthless bosses. Who's the poster boy for a Machiavellian CEO? Oh, has to be Steve Jobs. The man was a genius, no one's denying that, but he was a tyrant. The stories are insane. He had a reality distortion field. He'd look an engineer in the eye and tell them to do something they knew was physically impossible.
Wow.
But he'd say it with such certainty that they'd go off and find a way to do it. So he used a form of psychological manipulation, fear, and an insane level of self-belief. Exactly. He wasn't trying to be their mate. He wasn't trying to be loved. He wanted to build insanely great products. That was the end. And the means? Shouting, crying, firing people in lifts. It didn't matter. And look at the result. Apple. Machiavelli would have looked at Steve Jobs and gone, see, he gets it. So does that make it right? If the end is the iPhone, does that justify the means of being a monster? That's the question, innit? The book doesn't say it's nice, it just says it's effective.
Right.
It separates what is moral from what works. And in the world of power, he argues, they are two very different things.
He talks about virtu and fortuna as well. Can you break that down?
Simple, really. Fortuna is luck, stuff that happens to you. A recession, a war, a new competitor. Virtu is your skill, your balls, your ability to handle it. He says fortune is like a river that floods. You can't stop the flood, but a man with virtu builds flood barriers and defenses before the rain comes.
Oh, okay.
You use your skill to tame your luck.
So don't just hope for the best, prepare for the worst. A good leader foresees problems and acts early. They don't just react. Again, it sounds like basic common sense, but it's wrapped in this context of a brutal power struggle for survival.
Yeah, it's a survival guide. That's what it is. It's not how to be a good person in power. It's how to get power and not die.
So, final word. What do we do with this book in 2024? Is it a history lesson or is it a user manual?
I'd say it's a diagnostic tool. You read it and suddenly you understand the world a bit better. You see the patterns, you see the quiet Machiavellian moves happening in your office, in the news. It's not telling you to be a snake. It's telling you how to spot one and how they think. It's a red pill book. It wakes you up to the fact that power has its own grammar, its own ruthless logic. And if you don't understand it, you're just a pawn in someone else's game. The book is bleak, it's cynical, and it paints a grim picture of human nature. But you look around and you can't help but think the old geezer had a point. He did. It's a dark mirror and it's been showing us the ugly truth for 500 years.
Now here's a question we'd like you to think about. Look at the most successful person you know, in your career, in politics, anywhere. Are they successful because they are loved or because they are, in some small way, feared?